Hello everyone, how you doing? And welcome back to Skye and Evan in the morning. And today we're going to be talking about a horror film that's gonna get a sequel fairly soon in the coming months called Ready or Not, starring Samara Weaving. And Evan, well, it was your recommendation.
You had not seen it. You'd never,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, correct.
Uh, how much did you know about this movie? Because
I knew
to get it out of
nothing.
the way, don't if that is the case, you're in for a treat. I knew of the ending. I didn't know why, but I knew of it. And seeing it, it's pretty insane. This
Mm,
is definitely a movie where you're you're
yeah.
you're at an advantage if you don't know anything. So,
Yeah,
what did you think,
before we
Sky?
get into spoilers, guys, go watch it. It's a fun movie. It's very interesting. And yeah, without spoiling anything. And now, from now on, there are spoilers. So don't watch this video if you haven't seen the film. Genuinely, go in not knowing anything. But yeah, all I knew was the title was that Samara Weaving was in it. And I'd seen the main poster, which I thought looked kind of cool. I thought the story was gonna be like her against like a bunch of elites. I thought it was more of a period piece, but it's set in
Well,
modern
yeah, it's a
day.
little it's a little hard to tell based on how the poster is presented,
Yeah,
and the characters live like aristocrats in this film,
well,
so
yeah, yeah,
there is an edge to that.
yeah.
But
But there is a guy with the cell phone who he's so fucking
well, yeah,
funny.
and it
I
takes
told you when he fucking
oh my
Googles how to use
god,
a crossbow and watching a YouTube
yeah,
tutorial, I was losing my
that
mind. That felt so
y-
much
y-
like straight out of Glass Onion. Like,
yeah, it feels like Knives Out humor
yeah.
for and by the way, I laugh at this film because what I felt when I watched it, because I think this was 2019,
Uh-huh.
but this was right after Get Out, and it feels like the same kind of horror where the character who's supposed to be the victim, like running away from the monsters, they become kind of a
The
slasher
slasher,
themselves
yeah.
by the end, and they're after the rich fat cats that are trying to kill them. And it's funny how that's become its own little genre of horror that we have, because the sequel's going to do the same thing. It's going to have just more rich families, which I don't know.
Well,
We'll see how
they
that
did
works out,
establish
but
that in this film anyway, because they say, oh, that family. It's like, well, I heard
well,
their house burned down. It's like, well, that's just the story the papers told you. The real story you don't even want to know. So it seems like, yeah,
yeah,
there's
but
more than one
I
family
don't.
who made a deal with the devil.
I guess that maybe that literally is it. They all of them have different packs, and that's like helped them get high up. That could be. I don't know. We'll see how it works. The way I see, so we're talking about Ready or Not 2 because the trailer is out, but I don't know if you've seen it. It looks pretty good,
I have not
honestly.
seen. Well,
Yeah.
I hadn't seen the film until
Well,
yesterday, so I wouldn't have watched the trailer for the new one.
and I and I mean, hell, I just told you to not watch trailers.
Yeah,
I
I
couldn't
don't.
help
I'm not a
myself because
huge fan of trailers, and now that I've seen the first one, I
they're
know I'm gonna watch the second one, so I'm probably going to avoid trailers.
Yeah, trailers are a necessary evil. I like them, but they inherently kind of spoil or reveal things about the film, so what can you do? But so yeah, that is the plot of Ready or Not. It starts out as a wedding story because there's an opening where that like establishes that something else is going on, but it starts out as a wedding story, and this family has this weird tradition where they have to play a game with the bride after they get married, and the game that gets selected is hide and seek. And it turns out that this family has this full ritual. They've literally made a deal with the devil, and they have to play this game. And if hide and seek gets pulled, they kill the bride. And if they don't kill the bride, they die. And it's like that is the plot of Ready or Not. That is just the clinical plot. And it
Mm.
sounds insane, and it is. But my God, it this film is a testament to just going for it and like not being afraid of having insane things just come across as too unrealistic or too silly, but I think they pull it off pretty well.
Yeah. It's interesting. the way you set out the premise, it does feel very much like Get Out, doesn't it? The whole
Yeah.
the whole like, oh yeah, this family of rich white
Well,
people, and they have this weird tradition that this person gets caught up in just by existing. So yeah.
well, it's funny too what the film has to say about family in general, because
Mm-hmm.
there's that line I think from Daniel where he says like you do almost anything if your family says it's
Says it's
okay.
okay, yeah.
And I that's an apt line, and I laugh. I felt this way when I watched it the first time, and I felt it on rewatch. I almost feel like Daniel is framed as the main character, which is interesting because
He takes a
he's the
more
one who goes
heroic
through.
role. He's the
Well, yeah, he's the one who doesn't die before sunrise. He like has an actual death that's
uh,
kind of means something, you know.
well, to be
He
fair,
died for
Samara
something.
Weaving kills the mom too.
Yeah, yeah, true. That's another
What's her
one.
name?
So
Andy McDowell, right?
yeah, it's so funny too that like I haven't seen her in many other stories other than Groundhog Day. She hasn't had too many prominent roles, but this is cool for her to be like the veteran actor that's brought in and plays the mom. So yeah, she's great too. I
Yeah.
just that ponytail and like her smoking and like looking it reminds me a little of Demi Moore in The
In the
Substance,
substance, I
like
thought the exact
her
same thing. I was
vibe.
like, wait, is that Demi Moore? And then I opened Letterboxd and it said
No,
Andy McDowell. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay.
no, it is a woman like clinging to her youth and like looking so like witch-like. There's just
Yeah.
something about the makeup that they do with her that it's just like what they did with The Substance. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
s-
was I was a little shocked though that there aren't that many like kills. Because I thought she was
well,
gonna kill a lot of
you
the characters, and it's like mostly a waiting game. So it's like
yeah,
it's the whole thing of like if you're watching this film for
well,
like the cool horror action, there's not that much. I mean, obviously the ending is like very cathartic, but other than that, like her actually killing the characters, it's more like just her waiting it out, her evading them, which makes sense. The name of the film is Ready or
well,
Not. It's about hide
yeah,
and
it's
seek, and she's
hide.
more trying to hide than like pick them off one by one, but with like and get
Well,
out. So I don't know.
well, you mentioned the Dominator, and that to me read like we need a kill, so we're doing this.
Yeah, the
Because
dumb waiter was
yeah,
so
she does.
funny.
I just laugh because you can almost cut it out. It's like a
Yeah.
complete accident. It's like whatever. Um, but yeah, she the gun doesn't go off because the ammo is
For
for
display
display.
only,
So
yeah.
yeah, but she has a shotgun that she carries throughout the movie, and then that doesn't get used. So yeah, like the mom is the key character that's killed, and also like the butler, the car with the William Tell from Tchaikovsky. That's it. Well, he lives to the end, doesn't he? Or does he? What? Because I remember seeing him
They
wake up. What
crashed the
happened to that
car.
guy?
Dude, does he wake up? I don't think he wakes up, does he?
Scrolling through it now. No, maybe not. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought no, no. He doesn't. When he crashes the car, I was mixing it up with the strangling. That was
Yeah.
because there's like a fight before that.
Yeah.
So
So he
that
crashes the
character,
car
by
at
the
this
way,
point.
was all. That character, by the way, was also really entertaining as just the creepy butler. He's got like the white gloves. Like that guy was very well cast. The whole movie is really well cast. Like
Yeah.
everyone stands out, and including the actors that go like the one kid with the gun who keeps like shooting. He's like, why does this keep happening? Like that's another funny thing about the film in terms of how it plays out is that the villains they canonically don't know what they're doing. A lot of them haven't used the weapons. You mentioned the crossbow YouTube
Yeah.
tutorial.
Well,
Like,
it is
the-
interesting because it's like a tradition, and the last time it happened apparently was like 35 years prior, and Daniel had experienced it, but he hid Alex in a closet. It's the whole opening scene of the film, so they just don't have any experience with this. So their kind of incompetence is justified, and that's the kind of thing I like. And I want to ask you, like, what did you feel about the comedy in the film? Because like the film is, I think, straight up a
I
horror comedy. Like it has a lot of just like jokes, straight up jokes, not just like funny moments, but if like there are moments where the movie
Laugh
kind
out
of
loud comedy.
yeah,
It,
there are moments where the movie kind of interrupts itself to make jokes that I don't really love, but the like underlying
well,
comedy of the film I do love.
yeah, it's interesting that you say it like that because one example of that is the the cutting off the head where she, the character gets shot and then she like keeps like gurgling and then the I forget her name, but the family member with the short white hair,
Yeah,
who
I
is the
think
one
she's
who
an
was
ant,
involved in the
right?
ritual before.
Yeah.
Yeah, she like she keeps getting interrupted by the gurgling, and then she stops and then chops her head
Chops her
off
head. Yeah.
uh midway through, and like that plays out like a Marvel
I
scene
was gonna say that
where
feels like a
the
Deadpool
character is
joke.
still yeah, the character is making noise and it's like they're trying to give the speech and it that keeps interrupting and making joke. There are Deadpool style jokes
Hmm.
in this film and
Yeah, like that joke I
I
didn't
don't
love, but like that's the whole thing. Like that type of joke, the ones that feel like the movie's like interrupting and being like, "This is a moment for you to laugh," but the ones where it's just like part of the film, I think they work a lot better. Like the butler fucking bursting out like singing 1812 overture. It's so funny because like he's humming and then he stops because he hears the sound. And then
la, la,
he's
la,
just
la,
like
la,
keeps
la,
going and then la
la.
la like he goes super loud and it's just like almost a jump scare. Like that was funny. Because like if I want to compare it to something, I'm gonna like the thing that reminded me of was like you know how in Knives Out, every character says that Ana de Armas's character, Marta, is from a different country. That is a brilliant joke that is never called attention on because none of them know
That's
which country
always
she's on
on
from.
yeah, that's the joke is that it doesn't matter what country she came from, that she is an immigrant, and that's that they label her, and that's just what she
Yeah,
is.
and
It
there
doesn't
it's
matter
just,
where she is. It doesn't matter
exactly
her
it's just like
story.
they don't care exactly what country she's from. Just because these rich people looking down on her for being an immigrant. So that joke like characterizes the whole family and it's just funny, like as a detail that none of them say the same country throughout the whole film. So that type of humor is kind of what I like more in like a movie like this, and I thought there was quite a lot of it in Ready or Not, but there were so many moments where I'm like, okay, why are we stopping here? I almost thought they were gonna do that when she stops in front of the mirror and looks at herself, but instead of like saying
Well,
like, "Well, I look hot" or something, like she just says "fuck," which I was like, okay, that's better because it feels like she's just like, "How have I come to this? Like, how is this my life?" Which I thought was
well,
better.
legitimately, that moment I laughed at because like I said, there are jokes that would not be misplaced in the MCU
Hmm.
and not necessarily in a good way, but that moment and several moments in this film are where they didn't they didn't make a joke of that moment. Instead, they took it to try to be fucking iconic. They're like, yeah, she's in a wedding dress, like ammo bayonet over her shoulder and a shotgun, and she just looks at herself in the mirror, is just like, God damn. Like I other movies, and this is what I was thinking, is Black Widow, the making a joke out of posing.
Hmm.
That's what we're doing now. Like the MCU is like, no, it's silly when characters look cool and hot
Yeah, I
and
mean,
land
it's
from
the
like
whole.
off
I was gonna
because
say it's the whole Deadpool joke, the superhero landing joke.
yeah, it is cool having characters be cool and look cool, and I
Yeah.
love that this film leans. I mean, it's in the poster, the wedding dress with the shotgun. It's pretty memorable imagery,
Which
and
is so
this
funny
film
because like
leans
the
into it.
imagery is so basically the only thing I knew about the film, and because she never uses the gun, I was laughing so hard. I'm like, oh my god, the whole
Yeah,
imagery of the film is just something that doesn't matter for the like story.
yeah, it's such an anticlimax. It's
Yeah,
you would think she would be using that thing all the time, but I'm
yeah,
like, nope, it's not a first person shooter. So yeah. The comedy, like you said, I almost look at this as a thriller comedy because I wouldn't even necessarily say this is horror. There are jump scares, but by and large, it's not. I wouldn't say there's an overwhelming sense of horror terror throughout. It's more just like run for your life, a little bit like Hush or something like that. But
well, yeah, I
comedy
would call
is
Hush horror though. So.
yeah, like that's more on the horror track than this, but yeah, comedy is the other part of it, and that's why people suggested that the filmmakers behind this would do Scream well, and now they literally are doing Scream. But I think it works in this film because I think the reason why is because of just the basic concept. Like I said, they do go full deal with the devil in this film, and you were messaging that like deal with the devil or like pack with the devil, real or bullshit,
That
and
was
it's
such
like
a funny moment. The guy's just like, okay, so am I fucked or am I not? He just Googles deal with the devil, real or bullshit. I was losing my mind.
God,
See, that type of joke is hilarious.
yeah, it's so great how they characterize the family till the end, and I because that's what it gets to. Because that's what gives you the Daniel save. And like I said, I almost feel like Daniel is the main character.
Mm.
Funnily enough, in the end credits, his actor is credited before. Oh, what's the husband's name?
Alex.
I'm losing it. Alex. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's credited before him, almost like the film like says that he's more the star of the show. But they have the full out ritual of like drinking from a chalice and then hail Satan right before delving the knife in.
So funny.
They do that, and then you have like Daniel's saved, which leads into Alex betraying her, and oh my god. Like I said, I had seen the effect of the characters just exploding into
I
blood.
had not. I genuinely
What?
thought that like
What did
when they were there, I was like, okay, so they're not gonna explode. Obviously, there's no deal with the devil, and then they were gonna start attacking her, and that's when it became like a slasher, and she would kill all of them. But then the ants just fucking explodes, and I'm like, wait, did she hit something? What happened? Why did she explode? And then someone else explodes. I'm like, oh my god, they're exploding. I was caught so off guard because I genuinely thought the film was like, obviously there's no actual deal with the devil, but there was.
Yeah, you question it through and through to the end, and they just commit to it. They go full out, and yeah, I I love how the film plays out, and I like I said, I knew that happened, but I think it works so well as
Hmm.
just taking a concept that seems ridiculous and going for it in terms of execution, taking what needs to be taken seriously, and leaning into comedy because you can't help but lean into comedy with a premise that is this absurd.
Hmm.
So
The
I'm very
oh, go on.
well. I was just gonna say I'm curious how you were mentioning like what they might do with a sequel. I'm not sure how you're gonna make this. I don't know. There's plenty of sequels like that. Die Hard is a great example of just a franchise. Or like, why is there a franchise? Because we want one.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Well, that
let
was
us have
something
it.
that
So
I was thinking of last night, where it's just like horror just doesn't have that anymore, of just like franchising things anymore. Like we have a lot like
well,
of like what people
Scream.
say. Oh yeah, but Scream started in the 90s, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we had this we 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 have a lot of franchises that just like for like
Well, the
Nightmare on
MCU
Elm
is now.
Street, the first
Yeah.
film
That.
when came out in 1984. The second film came out in 1985 because of how popular the first film was. You know, like
Well.
the Friday the 13th, it came out almost yearly. Like horror takes like we don't have that type of sequel anymore, like franchising a horror film, especially because like most horror nowadays is trying and going for like the A24 elevated horror thing, and it's just like a
Yeah.
one-off. And it's funny, the fucking M3 gun, like that stupid fucking film, and it got a sequel because of how popular it was. And it's just like went full out fucking action comedy. um
Well, I haven't seen Megan yet, but I am on that film's side and a sequel side just because they went full T2. I didn't even hear that many good things about it, but
Yeah,
I like sequels
yeah.
just existing, and another great example that's similar to horror is like buddy cop,
Hmm.
like Lethal Weapon. We're getting TV
Well,
shows of
it's the
that
whole thing.
nowadays, but we
Why
don't
do we
get.
not have a Nice Guys too?
Because it wasn't popular and Angry Birds made more money. Like that literally is the answer.
Outrageous. But then there's like the Black Phone, right? Which I'm
Yeah,
really glad
well,
it got a sequel, and I really like Black Phone 2, maybe even more than the first one. But it took like what 4 years between films, and the
yeah.
kids grew up 4 years, and it's done pretty well in the story in terms of their age. But when you make another sequel, another 4 years, like Finn is gonna be 21. Like, can we even do this anymore? They're not teenagers anymore. I don't know. It's just the whole thing of like franchising that if it was the 80s or 90s, we'd have like so many of these so often that, you'd have like so many more films by the time, the actors age out of the roles. Because like Scream, the first one came out in 97. I think the second one came out in 98. And the third one in like 2000 or something. Like,
Well, the MCU has taken over for the regular just movies just damn near every year or like every
mhm,
2 years at most. And I'm like, you don't get other those are all universe movies, like the ones that are earnest. I find that funny that you bring up the Black Phone 2 and Megan because I guess it's Blumhouse, right, that are still sort
yeah,
of producing sequels, but even they, I guess they've gotten, The Conjuring is still getting sequels after so many years, but
yeah.
yeah, sequels are interesting in terms of how they translate now,
But The
but
Conjuring did their own like MCU style shared universe. So it's.
well, yeah, there's spin-offs and everything. It's insane just how much Conjuring material there is.
Yeah.
So
So I wouldn't call
I
it the same thing as like Black Phone, because Black Phone is literally like, hey, Scott Derrickson, make a one-off horror film based on this little short story, and then he does, and it's popular. It's like, okay, why don't I make a sequel since people enjoy it? And it is, it becomes a franchise because of that. And the second film like goes bonkers with the concept and goes way like over the top in a good way, I'd say. But like compared to the Conjuring, where it's just like, well, it's another case in the life, like it's just it is more of what I want, of just taking like, you make a one-off good horror film and you're just like, let's do a sequel because why not? And that's what I mean with like Ready or Not 2, is that it feels like that. It feels like, okay, we had this amazing concept, so let's just keep playing with it because why not? you know I don't know.
Yeah. I We shall see. Ready or Not 2 comes out. Ready or Not 2 Here I Come, which by the way got Now You See Me right. I can't believe it took the third movie, which
Yeah,
literally no one in the entire planet watched.
I did.
Like,
Now You See Me, Now You Don't
you
was
watched
great.
3?
Yeah, I watched it in
Oh,
theaters. It
really?
was so much fun.
Hmm. I heard most people that were on the side of how much money did it make? Because,
I don't know. I think it did pretty well.
I mean, I doubt they would be too other than the actors. Hold on. 90 million, 243. That's pretty respectable old fashioned ball. I mean, what did the old
Yeah,
ones make?
242 mil.
Yeah, but just,
The first one made
regardless, they
350
got,
mil, and the second
they got
one
the name. There's a Now You See Me
350.
2, and it is not called fucking Now
Now You
You
See
See
Me,
Me,
Now
Now
You
You
Don't.
Don't. It
Yeah,
took the third movie to get that
to
right.
call that.
Not
But
really.
you do know about that, right? That the director had to insist on the name. There's like, obviously that's got to be the name, the director of 3. But they wanted to name it Now You See Me 3. So yeah.
Well, the original director, I believe, or no, Ruben Fleischer did it. That's funny. He did he did Venom.
Yeah.
um yeah, but Ready or Not 2 is called Here I Come, and it comes out in March, I believe. So we'll see how that turns out from the trailer. And again, like as spoiler light as possible, what it looks like is that there are other families. There are just other. It looks like almost like a Hunger Games, like you've you've passed on one phase, and it reminds me of John Wick a lot, where the first film was just its own little independent thing. That's another great example of how sequels work nowadays. But
Mhm.
it's almost its own expanded universe where started as this one little thing. It's like there's this whole other side of the world that you don't know that's just a piece of that world. So, but the casting, Elijah Wood is in it, Sean Hattasey is in it, and the actor who plays the mayor from The Dark Knight, as well as in Lost. So like, it's funny like looking at the cast. It reminds me a bit of like Knives Out in terms of how it's presented, and we've compared it to Knives Out and Get Out. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the sequel. It looks like they understand the assignment.
Yeah. Knives Out is another good example of franchisification. It works a lot better
Yeah,
than
three.
the stupid cinematic
Not
universes.
not to mention built around one guy's vision. It's genuinely just his own original IP, and we've talked about that in terms of just original IPs, like Knives Out and Benoit Blanc. I'm like, that is just a genuine detective that was just invented and is popular, and
Yeah.
they've maintained.
Yeah, it's
So
straight up like probably one of the few franchises that spawned over the last few years. It's that and John Wick, like new
yeah,
and franchises. But
we'll see if maybe this will be a new one. They'll
who
keep it
knows?
going. I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
Seven
One way
years
or another,
between
like a
films is the worry that if they
well,
want to do another one, 7 years is too long.
I wonder if Scream got in their way. It's funny because I'm sure people were gunning for a sequel to this ever since it came out.
Uh-huh.
It has sequel potential, even though you're like, what are they gonna do? I'm like, you still want more. This is a movie that leaves you wanting more. So
Yeah. It
we'll
makes
see.
sense. They did Scream 5, 6, and then Abigail. So that makes sense. Now they're back to it.
Oh well, I would you recommend Ready or Not? You're the one who did not see this. So
Yeah.
what did you think? What
I
did,
absolutely would. I really enjoyed it. It's an extremely fun film, and my one criticism was the comedy, which is funny. Like one criticism, like this is what I call like a perfect 7 out of 10. Just those films are like
yeah,
perfect
yeah,
for
yeah.
what they are, but they're not like they don't blow you away. But it's just so fun, and it's short, 95 minutes. It's just
Yeah.
like you put it on and you're gonna have a blast. Like if you're watching it with friends, if you're watching it alone, if you're watching it drunk, if you're trying to pay attention, regardless, it's just so much fun. Unless you
Well,
don't like
it tied.
gore or violence, then you're probably not gonna enjoy it. But other than that,
Yeah, that runtime was so nice. It just that's another thing like franchises and just basic sequels to original IPs that are gone is oh God. Sorry, I completely lost my
length,
train of thought. What was Yeah,
length,
yeah, yeah, for Christ's sake. The 90-minute runtime. Like it's funny too because this is horror or like thriller, and that's more normal. But even that, Ari Aster with like his horror movies are getting longer. They're getting more like 2 hours and even longer than 2 hours. But I miss old 90-minute movies like Drive or Fargo that are not horror or not specific concepts, but they just hit. They just don't waste any time. Like 90 minutes and like we don't need to be longer and we're good being that length. So. It helps. It helps the pacing a lot.
yeah, absolutely. All right, and well, I assume you would recommend it.
I absolutely would. I was harder on it when I watched it the first time. I gave it a 5. I think I understood the tone a little better on retrospective rewatch, and yeah, it's good. I would recommend it, and I'm curious of the sequel.
Yeah. All right. Now it's time
Well,
for me to
Skye.
recommend something. Okay. Um, I'm torn. I don't know which one of these I'm gonna recommend. I think I'm gonna go with a classic horror film that I've never watched, but I've heard many great things about it. And it's another one of what I'm talks about with like 80s horror that just got franchised and just like bajillion sequels. But I'm gonna recommend Hellraiser, the
Oh,
1987 film. Yeah.
never seen it. That's one of just a couple of franchises that I just haven't watched
Yeah.
the original film, huh?
Yeah, and it has a
I,
bajillion I doubt I'm gonna watch all of them. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've done this before with
Yeah.
Saw and everything, but I doubt it. But there was the Hellraiser 2022 remake, reboot, whatever it was, that I've
Yeah,
also heard great things about. So I'm really curious.
heard good things ish too, but I remember it. My problem with that movie is that it just kind of blended away. A lot of people might not know that they made a new Hellraiser. I'm like, they rebooted it with a different actor. I'm like, yeah, like okay, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I heard good things about it, the remake, reboot, whatever it was. I don't know. I avoided anything because I never seen the original. But yeah, it's a film I've heard really interesting things about. So yeah, Hellraiser, which is
I
also like
I would
90 minutes
almost be
long. So
yeah, I would almost be curious to check out the Clive Barker novella. That's one of the things that kept me from watching Hellraiser because I've been curious. Because this is, from what I understand, the guy who made it didn't work on films. Like he was like a writer, but he to make his vision, it kind of had to be him. And
hmm
I've heard that it nails that. It only Clive Barker could have made it. So
yeah.
all right, I thank you for giving me an excuse. I'm like I just never have had the motivation, but let's do it.
It's exactly
Hellraiser.
the reason because I was like, I need to watch this film, but I just don't know if I'm going to do it on my own time. So I recommend it. Forcing my own hand.
Hellraiser. Let's do it.
All right. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Uh, P- Patreon is in the description, and as well as other links.
You sound like you have a gun to your head,
I
Skye. It's
hate doing
fine
this,
to
Evan.
plug your.
And yeah, if you're listening on the podcast places, follow us so you don't miss any new episodes. Subscribe to Evan's channel, which is also in the description. And I think that's all of the stuff I need to say. All
All
right.
right.
See you later, folks.
Thank you for watching,
Bye bye.
folks. Bye bye.